Hello, folks. This is your ticker guy coming at you from a warm and sticky place. Oh, get your mind out of the gutter, you pigs. All right. Not impeachment today. We're going to talk about Eddie Gallagher and the United States military. Eddie Gallagher was charged under the Uniform Code of Military Justice for premeditated murder, attempted murder, obstruction of justice, and posing for a photo with a casualty. This is the infamous picture of the dead warfighter, whether he's actually a ISIS person or whether he was just a jihadi. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really matter. The point of this was that he was acquitted of killing the man, but he was convicted by the court-martial process of posing for the photograph. Of course, it's kind of hard to argue with that. There was hard evidence that he, in fact, did that. So the problem here is that he was demoted in rank, and President Trump has said, you will not take any further disciplinary action against this man, and he restored his rank. Okay. We now have people within the Navy who are saying, nope, we're going to proceed with our disciplinary action, and we're going to strip him anyway. There's a problem here with that, folks, and that is the Constitution. Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1. The President shall be the Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and of the militia of the several states when called into actual service of the United States. Period. These people in the Navy serve under the orders of the President. I don't care whether or not that is something they like or not. The only exception under the Uniform Code of Military Justice for disobeying a direct order of your superior is that the order itself is unlawful. For the president to restore his rank and order them to stand down on further disciplinary action is not against the law. It is his decision. And it doesn't matter whether or not that is something that the people within the Navy likes. Now we have, we had a statement out here a couple days ago that said, well, the Navy will follow the lawful orders of the president. We will do so in a case of an order to stop the administrative review of SOC Gallagher's professional qualification. Well, okay, that's fine, except now today we have up on the wires statements that, well, maybe not so much. And oh, by the way, we have people within the Navy threatening to resign. Well, that's fine if they resign, because they have the right to resign. If they believe for whatever reason that they cannot legitimately follow the orders of the president, then they are within their rights to resign. What they're not within their rights to do is to go beyond that and ignore the orders of the president. That they cannot do. And this is an extremely serious problem, folks, because at the point that you have people within our military that believe in any way, shape, or form they have superior authority in decision-making to the President of the United States, who is the Commander-in-Chief, then our Constitution is a dead letter, and it is time for 1776. This is much, much more serious, folks, than anything that might come out of Congress ignoring the Constitution. Congress constitutes 535 people, and other than their personally held firearms and ammunition, they have no means to enforce anything on their own. The military is an entirely different kettle of fish. The military consists of hundreds of thousands of individuals. They possess guns, bombs, tanks, planes, nuclear weapons. All of them which could be used outside the authority of the CIC. I understand that there are a lot of people out there who do not like President Trump. I don't particularly like President Trump. I didn't vote for him, and I'm not going to vote for him again. Why wouldn't I vote for him in 2020 over whoever it is the Democrats put up? It's very simple. President Trump promised he was going to solve the problem that faces this nation economically, socially, and politically within the next 5 years, and that is the outrageous monopolization of the healthcare sector and the destruction it is serving up upon middle class and everyone else in America, along with the impending destruction of the federal budget, all state budgets, and ultimately civil order. Because when you run out of the money to pay for this nonsense, you're going to have to stop. And it doesn't matter whether you're going to want to stop or not. You're not going to have a choice. And the way that stopping is going to happen is very likely to be violent and disorderly. And nobody in their right mind should want to see that happen. No one. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. I sure as hell don't want to see it. And I am not going to vote for a man who is going to stand by and let it occur, because he is afraid that if he takes it on, the stock market will crash and then he'll lose the thing that he has claimed is the barometer of his presidency. You know, Barack Obama pulled the same crap with the ACA. He bailed out the health industry, which was on the verge of the fold back to begin with, and he got himself another, well, what do we get, another 10 years out of it? Well, okay, fine. But Trump isn't even making an attempt to do something like that would actually extend things. Now, that's not to say that Pocahontas and all these other people have better ideas, because I haven't heard any. But I'm not voting for a guy that had 3 bullet points up on his campaign website that said he was going to fix this. And on the night, literally on the night of the election, as soon as it was called for him, they all disappeared and haven't been seen since. And his bullshit executive order for hospitals to post charges carries a $300 fine. That's a traffic ticket. That is a pure political stunt. It's a joke. And that, standing alone, is enough reason to impeach that son of a bitch and throw him out of office. Leave aside the other stuff, because that's not important. This is. However, being that said, the military must always honor the chain of command and civilian control of the United States Armed Forces. And if any element of the military threatens to not do so, the constitutional contract between this government and the people in this nation is void. The implications of that are just as serious as when the Redcoats marched on Concord to try to seize the colonists' ball and powder. It is exactly the same thing. In fact, in many ways it's worse, because today it's not little cannons and little muskets. It's bombs, it's planes, it's automatic rifles, it's all sorts of things that the military claims the right to possess as infantry weapons that our government claims you as a civilian do not have the right to possess. We went to war with Britain over the right to possess the same arms that the British regulars had. That is why the shooting started in Concord. And folks, you can deny that all you want, but that's a fact. And yet today, that very same military stands in support of the supposed civilian power that has stripped a huge percentage of those rights right out of your hands. Okay, but they're still subject to the civilian power, which means if the civilian power was to change its mind, they'd have to honor it. Or do they? And this is where the problem is. All of a sudden, we have this noise being made that they're not going to pay attention to the civilian control of the military anymore. And they're going to do their own thing because they think it's more important that they have whatever process they want within the service. Wrong, folks. You know, if the Secretary of the Navy doesn't like this, the thing for him to do is exactly what he's threatening to do. Resign. He has the right to resign. Absolutely. And he ought to resign. Because if he cannot do this, if he cannot shut up and take the lawful order of the president at its word, and he doesn't have to put it on a piece of paper. Hey, listen, if I tell you to do something and I'm your boss, then that's the end of the discussion. You demand that I stick it on a piece of paper and sign it? Well, eventually I'll go do that. But in the meantime, if you intentionally turn around and subvert what I told you to do, your ass is fired. I don't care if you believe in the President of the United States or if you wanted Hillary to win. If Hillary had issued a similar order, I would expect the exact same response. Because if you don't have it, then we are no different than a nation whose military decides that they're going to oust the sitting civilian government. Our Constitution is designed the way it is specifically to prevent that. This must not stand. I'm your ticker guy. And I hope it isn't 1776.